Sorry again for the technical glitch. Next is marketing cooperative society. These societies are set up to help the small producers in selling their products. Its members are the producers who wish to procure reasonable price for their output. The main purpose of forming this society is to eliminate middlemen and improve competitive position of its members by securing a favorable market for their products. So, in marketing cooperative society, the societies are formed to help the small producers in selling their products. The society pulls the output of the individual members and performs various marketing functions like transportation, warehousing, packaging, grading, etc. and sell the output at a fair price. Next is Farmers Cooperative Society. This society is formed to protect the interests of the farmers. Its members are the farmers who jointly carry on farming activities. The main objective of such society is to procure benefit of large-scale farming and increase the productivity. These societies provide better quality seeds, manure and fertilizers, irrigation and latest technology and techniques for use of cultivation of crops. So such society is only formed for the benefits of farmers. And next one we have Credit Cooperative Society. Credit Cooperative Society are set up to improve the economic condition of the members. This society provides credit facility to its members at reasonable terms and conditions. This society are organized in both rural and urban areas. Credit cooperatives are formed by members called rural credit cooperatives. Credit cooperatives organized in urban areas are called urban banks. The members are the persons who seek financial help in the form of loans. Loans are provided of the amounts collected as capital and deposits from the members. The primary aim of this society is to provide loans to the needy members at cheaper rate of interest. Hence the members are protected from the exploitation of money lenders who charge exorbitant rate of interest. Next is cooperative housing societies. These societies are established to help the members to construct houses at a reasonable cost. The members of the societies consist of people who want residential accommodation at lower cost. The main aim of society is to solve the housing problems of the members by constructing houses and giving them option to pay in easy installments. So this is all about cooperative housing societies. Next we'll move on to joint stock company. A joint stock company is the largest form of business organization. It is an association of persons formed for carrying out business activities and has a legal status independent of its members. It is governed by Companies Act 2013. The capital of the company comprises of share capital and debentures. Now what is share and what is debenture? This we have already learned in the chapter Sources of Business Finance. Now let us see what are the features of a joint stock company. Number 1. Artificial person. A company is an artificial person created by law. It does not have a physical body or of a natural human being. A company is a person so it can purchase and sell properties, incur debts, borrow and lend money, enter into contracts, sue and be sued in its own name. But like natural person, it can drink, breathe, walk, run, eat or so on. So a company is an artificial person created by law. Just is like a normal person, but it does not have a physical appearance or body like a human being, but it can enter into contracts, sue and be sued, can borrow, can lend money, can incur debts and can buy properties in its own name. Next is separate legal entity. From the date of its incorporation or registration, the company obtains a separate legal entity distinct from its members. So the company becomes a separate entity distinct from the members of the company. Next is perpetual succession. A company has a perpetual succession. The term perpetual succession may be defined as continuous existence. As company is not affected by the death, insolvency, incapacity or lunacy of the members of the company, therefore the company carries on its operations for ever and ever. It has a perpetual succession means it is never coming to an end. The company never gets closed down unless the process of shutting down a company, that is liquidation of a company, is done. Until and unless voluntarily the company is shut down, it won't come to an end. Next is formation. According to the Indian Companies Act 2013, it is mandatory for a company to get itself registered. The formation of a company involves preparation and submission of several necessary documents with the registrar of companies. Therefore, it is very time consuming, complicated and costly process. Next is separation of ownership and management. In companies, ownership and management are separate. Shareholders are the owners of the company, however, they are not allowed to take part in the management of the company. The management of the company lies in the hands of directors, which are appointed through the annual general meetings with all the shareholders putting their vote. So the management of the company lies in the hands of directors. However, the shareholders are the owners of the company. So the ownership and management are separate in case of a joint stock company. Next is liability. The liability of the members or shareholders is limited to the unpaid amount on the shares purchased by them. The amount that is unpaid on the shares that they have purchased till now, only that is the liability of the shareholders, not more than that. So the liability of the shareholders are always limited in case of a company. Next is common seal. The company, being an artificial person, cannot act and sign itself, therefore it acts through human beings known as board of directors. The company has a common seal which is taken as the signature of the company. Any document on which the common seal of the company is affixed, it can be termed as signed by the company. Next is risk bearing. In case of sole proprietorship, all the risks have to be borne by a single person, but in case of a company, all the shareholders share the risk among themselves. Next is meaning of joint stock, merits of joint stock company. Let us see what are the advantages. Number one, limited liability, that we have already discussed. The liability of the members of the company are always limited. Next, transfer of interest. The shares of a public limited company can be easily converted into cash by selling them in the open market through stock exchange, or can be transferred or sold out to some other person. Next is perpetual succession. The company has separate legal entities, so it is not affected by the death, lunacy, resignation, insolvency of any member. So the company continues forever. Next is scope for expansion. As compared to sole proprietorship and partnership, the financial resources, the capital involved in company is much high, so there is greater scope for expansion. Next is professional management. A company has large funds at its disposal. It can afford to pay higher salaries to specialists and professionals. Therefore, it can appoint people who are experts in management. As we have already discussed, ownership and management are separate. So for management of the company, there are directors who are appointed, and these directors are expert and specialist in the field of management of any company. Next is limitations of a joint stock company. Number one, complexity in formation. As there are very much legal formalities involved, so it is very complex and very difficult to form a company. Next is lack of secrecy. The Company Act has made mandatory to all the public company to provide a lot of information to the office of the registrar of the companies from time to time, and such information is always available to the general public. So it is difficult to maintain any secrets about the operations of the company. Next, impersonal work environment. Separation of ownership and management results in effort as well as personal involvement on the part of the officers of the company. Since the ownership and management is separate, so the owner might not feel like personal work environment is available to them. Next is numerous regulations. A company has to fulfill various kind of legal regulations, laws and rules, so it reduces freedom of operations of a company and takes away a lot of time, effort and money. Next is delay in decision making. As all important decisions of the company are taken in a general meeting of the company where all the shareholders are invited, so in case of approval of all the shareholders, then only when a majority of the shareholders agree to a decision, then only such decision can be taken in case of a company. So the decision making in a company is quite delayed. Slow decisions are taken in company. Next is oligarchic management or management by few. It is said that there is a democratic form of management in the company, but this democratic setup exists only on paper. In practice, majority of the shareholders have minimum influence in terms of controlling the operating of the business. The complete control and power of taking major decisions lies only with the board of directors. The board of directors take all major decisions keeping in mind their personal interest and benefit, ignoring the interest of all the shareholders and the company. So the company has an oligarchic management and not a democratic management. Next is conflict in interest. There may be conflict of interest between various stakeholders of a company. For example, employees may demand higher salaries, customers want better quality products at lower prices, and shareholders want higher returns. So it becomes very difficult for the company to fulfill all such diverse demands. Hence, the management has to face a number of problems in managing the affairs of the company. So there is conflict in the interest of members of the company. So this was all about the limitations of a company. I want all of you to learn these points very carefully and properly, as this is very important from your examination point of view as well as from your course point of view. Next is the types of companies that we'll see